Welcome to the Root of Power podcast, where I teach you how to chase your joy, find alignment, and create a life and a business that you love, using actionable methods, interviews, and inspiring stories from people who know that true freedom is found within. I'm your host, your always hype woman and sometimes ass kicker, Amanda Chills, and I am so proud of you for choosing to step into your power. Come along, we've got dreams to build. Hello, podcast people. I am excited to be here with you today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite things, which is doing shit that you want to do. Literally one of my favorite things to do, right? Why would I not like doing things that I like to do? One of my favorite things to talk about is helping people figure out, one, what they even want to do. A lot of people don't dream, don't have the space to, don't give themselves the space to or the time to, and really don't know how. And it's something that I run into a lot with adults, is that they don't know what they want. They don't make decisions. They struggle to even think about what they want out of life. And that breaks my heart. So I want to talk about how to actually set goals that are going to work, that are going to, like, how to strategically plan to hit a goal. Because it is not enough to say, like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, or I'm going to start a business, or I'm going to have a great relationship, and you don't actually know the steps or take the steps to get there. Not that you have to know the whole thing. So that is what we are going to talk about today. Strategic goal planning, how to reverse engineer goals, which is actually the right way. But before we do that, I want to tell you about the group container that I am building. So when I say container, I don't mean like I'm going to put you in a little Tupperware container and then like put you in a self-development soup, in a healing soup. That's not what I'm doing. I built a group coaching program, and it's a group for a reason, not just a self-study course, because we heal in relationship to one another. Our relationships are our biggest vehicles for growth. And they can push us to really expand boundaries and to practice and to level up. So if you don't have people in your life who you can grow with, this is literally the perfect container for you. And it's for people who struggle with people pleasing. It's for people who struggle with making decisions or outsourcing decisions or saying no, or putting themselves first. All of those things are characteristics of people pleasers. And if you've never heard that term before, please go back into my episodes and listen to what is people pleasing and how to overcome it. I actually had a client say they listened to that episode and started crying because it was them. So it may resonate for you, especially if that's a new term. And even if it's not, go back and listen to the episode. It was a good one. So the whole container, the whole group, the entire program is built to take you step by step into how to heal that, because it comes from a wound. It comes from fear. And we're going to talk about that every step of the way. You're with me. We have weekly coaching. We have the weekly coaching that drops, and then we have a Q&A session. So if you want to be on the wait list, you can go to livemyhappyhealth.com, livemyhappyhealth.com/waitlist. And that will get you on it. I'm only going to open it once or twice a year. I haven't decided yet. It'll probably depend on what I've got on my plate at the time. So if you miss it, you're going to have to wait a few months, because it is a 3-month program. So you're going to have to wait a few months until I open it again, which is fine. That's super legit. If you're like, oh, like I'm not really ready this round, but I'll be ready the next round. Okay, cool. Live your dream. Just don't use that as an excuse to never be ready. Sometimes we'll tell ourselves, I'll be ready when, I'll be ready when, I'll be happy when, I'll join that thing when, I'll start on Monday. And then it becomes perpetual Mondays. So that's not very helpful. So get on the wait list. If it is something you are remotely interested in, you are more than welcome to say, hey, this isn't actually for me, or hey, it's not for me right now. Okay, live your dream. That's your life. The way that we plan that, right? So there is that. So livemyhappyhealth.com/waitlist. And how do we change? How do we become different? How do we grow? How do we hit any kind of goal? If you're like most people, you think about a goal and then you don't really make a plan. and you don't really know the steps to get there. A lot of people, if they're able to dream at all, which I find most people struggle with. Most people are very good at telling me what they don't want, but then I say, what do you want? And they go deer in headlights, and they're just like, no, I don't know, not this, which is a good answer, right? That is at least some awareness. So if you're like, I don't really know what I want, if you can start with not this, it is still a good place to start, because if you're walking away from something, you are still walking towards something else. But eventually we do want to walk towards a specific thing, because otherwise we don't end up there. So for most people, when they set a goal, the New Year's resolution, right? And they set a goal and they're like, I have these huge goals. I'm going to do all this shit at once. And you can really only move the needle on like 2, maybe 3 things if you're really good at self-discipline, if things are dialed in your life at a time. So it's not like we can start a business and start the gym and start a new relationship and get a puppy and build a house. Like, that is way too many things. Please stop doing that. And then we get burned out, and then we get overwhelmed, and then we give up. And then we say, oh, well, I'll have to start next year. Oh, I'll have to start Monday. And we become a series of Mondays. We become a series of Sundays. And then our life passes us by. And it's not your fault, right? A lot of people really don't know how to set goals. So here we are, talking about how to set goals, because I want you to be successful in whatever that looks like for you. So we are going to first understand what the hell a goal is. Well, what is a goal? Well, you probably already know the answer to this. It's something you want to do or accomplish. It's buy a house, pay down debt, eat healthier foods, lose 10 pounds, gain 5 pounds of muscle, make 5 new friends, read 24 books in a year, like anything that is a goal. Now, you'll notice some of those were not super specific. So pay down debt is not as specific as pay down $10,000 of debt. Save money is not as specific as save $200 a week, save $20 a week, save $5 a week. Those things are much more specific. So I am so sorry we are yawning today. So when we set a goal, there are 5 things that we want to remember. We want to set a SMART goal, meaning they are specific. They are measurable. They are attainable. Now, it can be a stretch attainable. It can be, oh yeah, I can definitely hit this, but I want to stretch it a little more. They are relevant, and they are time bound. So you can say, I want to pay down $10,000 of debt in a year. I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle in 6 months. I want to make 3 friends next year. I want to have a new job by XYZ. I want to learn a new skill by XYZ, instead of just, I want to get better at the piano. I want to make friends. I want to walk more. How much more? Be specific. Now, you don't want to go from 0 to 10 miles a day. That's not attainable. It is measurable, but it's probably not attainable unless you just have a lot of time and you hike for a living. We want it to be relevant to you. So if you're saying, I want to climb Mount Everest, and you've never wanted to climb a mountain in your life, maybe it's relevant to you. I don't want to tell you your goals aren't relevant, but we want to make sure that they make sense given our goals. So you say, I want to pay down debt, and I also want to buy a brand new car off the lot. We may need to prioritize one of those, and I would prioritize paying down debt, because that shit will eat you alive. So we pick a SMART goal: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And once you have your goals, then we're going to work backwards. And if you say, I'm going to, let's just say, save $10,000 in the next 12 months. Okay, so we would divide $10,000 by 12, which, if I'm doing math correctly, is about $800 a month. So now you'd say, okay, I need to save $800 a month. And then we're going to take it a step further and say, how am I going to save $800 a month? Well, I'm going to save $200 a week. I'm going to save $800 out of one paycheck because I get paid one time a month. I'm going to save $400 out of each paycheck because I get paid twice a month. I'm going to pick up a second job. I'm going to start a side hustle so that I can make $800 a month. Whatever. Just make sure it's very, very specific that you know how to get there. If you say, I am going to read 12 books a year. Okay, well, you could read them all in December when you realize that you haven't tracked it all and you haven't actually planned it at all. And then you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, although a chicken with their head cut off can't read. So you're just frantically reading books trying to get it in. Or you could plan, you could reverse engineer and say, if my goal is 12, how do I hit that monthly? How do I hit it quarterly? How do I hit it weekly? Oh, I need to read 20 pages a night. I need to read one book a month, but even that is not as specific. I want to read whatever, an hour a day, half an hour a day, whatever is going to logistically get you there. So where most people struggle is in the logistical planning. If you say, I want to make $100,000 a year in my business. Okay, well, you're probably going to hit $8,000 to $9,000 a month. So then how do we do that? Oh, I need to sell these many things. Okay, take that one step further. If we have to sell 8 things that cost $1,000, how many people do we need to interact with to sell that? In order to do that, you have to know some numbers. You have to know what your closing rate is. You have to know how many people you interact with versus how many people buy. So if you say, I need to sell 8, and 50% of people buy, we need to talk to 16 people because you're only converting half. If you say, I want to make 3 new friends, and every time I ask someone to be my friend, they say yes, well, hell yeah, that's 100% rate. Then we say every couple months, I need to purposefully, intentionally ask someone to be my friend. Okay. Awesome. If you say, I want a new relationship, or I think I'm ready for a relationship, but everybody is a bozo. Okay, well, we better meet more people so that our chances of finding somebody who's not a bozo is much higher. We love that. So you have your big goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And then we're going to say, what will it take to get there? Then we're going to break that down by month, by week, by quarter, whatever it is that you need to break it down by. And we're going to just do those things. Now, I want you to remember that in order to hit your goals, you're going to have to be disciplined. And discipline, like anything else, is a practice. You're going to get better at it the more that you practice it. So if you're not very good in the beginning, keep going. It is literally a skill. And if you're unclear, your brain is going to go, oh, that's too hard. Oh, I can't do that. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. And it's going to like shut off because brains shut off and they run away from things when they are overwhelmed. So if we don't have a very specific reverse engineered plan, your brain is going to avoid doing the thing. Not because you can't do the thing, but because you don't have a plan and it's too overwhelming for your brain. It's too much work. And so your brain's like, oh, yeah, we're allergic to work. We're not doing that. So we want a very, very specific laid out plan. So discipline is a skill. It is also a muscle. The more reps you do, the better you get. And then you're just hella disciplined and living life. And hell yeah, I'm proud of you loving it. And if you're just starting, hell yeah, I'm proud of you loving it. Like both are good. We just want to keep going. Keep going, friend. Because discipline is a skill. I'll probably say it again, but there you go. I think it's embedded in your brain now. We also want to track our progress. If you are not measuring something, if you are not tracking something, you don't have a goal. You don't. You have a wish. And a wish is not a goal. A wish does not have a plan behind it. A hope and a dream do not have a plan behind it. We want actionable, actual strategies that will get us to the thing. So if you say, I'm going to read 20 pages a night, and you are not tracking that, trust and believe you will probably overestimate was the word my brain was looking for. Overestimate how much you're actually doing it and not hit your goal. Because you're going to think, oh, I read every night this week, or I think I read 5 nights this week, and you read like 2. Because we also don't want to be honest with ourselves about what we're not doing, because it creates cognitive dissonance. So we need to actually track it on paper, on a spreadsheet, on a habit tracker, whatever. Get one, write your shit down. Write your goal, write down what it takes to get to that goal, and then track it. Be honest. Now, when we're tracking, we want to do a few things. We want to be completely honest. We also don't want to beat ourselves up. If you are not hitting a goal, if you're not doing the thing, there's a reason for that. Sometimes it's a mindset block. Sometimes it wasn't super realistic. Sometimes we're missing a step and we're not really sure what that step is. Sometimes the goal really wasn't relevant to you, and so we're not doing it. A lot of people will beat themselves up and call themselves lazy at that point, but I don't believe that lazy exists. Something is getting in the way. Something is wrong, and we need to just figure out what the fuck is wrong. So when we track it honestly, we can say, okay, I didn't hit it this month. Is that because it's a slow month? Is that because things got busy? Is that because COVID happened and I couldn't get out as much? Is that because whatever? Figure out what the problem is, and then we can make a plan to solve it. And that is a good time. We want to be able to make plans to solve the problem, not just beat ourselves up and tell ourselves that we're a giant dumpster fire and we can't do anything right and nothing ever works and we're bad at goals and we're just a loser. Like, that is not going to get you where you want to be. It just keeps you in a pity party. So no, thank you. We want to be honest without judging ourselves. We want to just act like a scientist who's like, why didn't this work? Everything is an experiment. If something works really well, let's figure out why so we can freaking duplicate that. Like, if it's not working, we don't want to duplicate it, but we do want to figure out what's wrong. So we want to track the things honestly. We want to celebrate when you hit things. If you hit a whole week of reading 20 pages a day, like, oh my God, hell yes, you are awesome. You are crushing it. We love it. If you hit your revenue goal, if you hit your saving goal, if you hit your investing goal, like, oh my God, that is awesome. Super proud of you. If you hit it 85%, oh my God, super proud of you. If it's like under 85%, I would look into that, right? We can have kind of like a 15-20% swing where sometimes life happens and we do our best and our best is 80 or 85%. B work still gets you lots of progress. You don't have to be an A+. We can be a B or a B-. That's okay. So we want to celebrate the wins because a lot of people really forget that too. And it creates this like, oh, I'm not good unless I'm perfect. I can't celebrate unless I'm perfect. I can't be proud of myself until I hit the goal. And that's not true. We want to celebrate the steps along the way so that we acknowledge our own progress, which is extremely powerful and motivating. We want you to be motivated. We just don't want to rely on motivation because motivation is a feeling and feelings will not get you what you want. You have to be disciplined, which you know is a skill and a muscle. So we came back around. Now, while we're checking, we also want to take a step back every few weeks and take a macro view and say, okay, what are the trends here? Because a day-to-day view is not enough. We need to take a step back, look at the forest, not just the trees, and say what's happening in this ecosystem. How are these affecting each other? How are they affecting me? Are these too many goals? Do I feel good about them? Am I hitting none of them, or am I hitting most of them consistently but never this one? Well, maybe we need to drop that goal. That's okay. We can also adjust based on data. We love data. So we can take, and listen, this is coming from someone who hated. I am artistic and I am a free spirit and I am in the flow. So I couldn't use data. Like, okay, that's where I was before I started working with my business coaches and they were like, no, yeah, you need to make decisions out of data. Like, what the fuck? Excuse me. Oh my gosh. So sorry. So before I started working with my business coaches, and they were like, Amanda, no, you run a business. Like, you're a business owner, which means we need to make decisions on data and not your feelings, because it's not consistent. Like, we want both. We want data to support decisions that we feel good about. So we want to check in regularly, take a macro view, and just adjust as needed. For example, I had a revenue goal for a business that I have I have not hit it all. And I had to let it go because it was causing me so much stress. It wasn't happening. I didn't really have the time to put into it what I wanted to. And so I shifted the use of that business. And it's been fine. Like, nothing changed except my attachment to it. And that was really, really helpful. So adjust as needed, check in probably monthly. You want a few good weeks of data and not the day-to-day. It's just really not enough time. So there we go. That is the 4 things. I'll go over them again. So we want to set SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. We want them to be a little outside of your comfort zone, because if they're in your comfort zone, you're not growing, and that is garbage. So set ones that you're uncomfortable about but are not realistic. But are not unrealistic. We do want goals that are realistic but stretchy. Like a rubber band. We don't want to just not be stretched. We want a little bit of stretch. We want to reverse engineer them. So you're going to figure out how to get to those goals. If you're not sure how, ask somebody who's smarter than you. That's why I hire business coaches, because they're smarter than me, because they've done things that I want to do. So you can ask someone with more experience, as long as they know what they're talking about, right? Don't ask people with experience who haven't done what you want to do. I would not ask a plumber how to shave my horse unless they had horses. I would not ask someone who does electrical wiring how to redo my roof. Like, they don't know. So make sure that whoever you're asking has relevant experience in that area. And education, like they have knowledge. So we want to work backwards. What do we need to do on a bigger picture, then a smaller picture, then a smaller picture, then a smaller picture, until you have baby steps, right? We're not jumping the Grand Canyon. We want to walk down the Grand Canyon and up the other side, but we need a path to do so. So make sure we're taking baby steps, not trying to leave the Grand Canyon. You want to track your progress and celebrate wins. If you Google habit tracker, I promise you there are a million of them out there. Track your shit. If you're serious about it, you will track it. Check in regularly and adjust as needed while you celebrate the small wins. Hitting 80 to 85% of your goal, like, that is quality. B and B minus work still get done. B's get degrees. B's change the world. Like, you don't have to be an A+. It is okay to not be perfect. Don't jump ship the second that things don't go 100% your way. Life is not 100%. That's not real. It's not realistic. 80 to 85% is good. So remember to take a macro view. We want a good few weeks of data, and then we want to say, okay, do I need to adjust? Where do I need to adjust? Or are things freaking rolling along? Like, if they're not broke, don't fix them. If they are broke, let's just be honest about it and fix it. It's okay. Let me know which one of these is the hardest for you. Let me know which one you were surprised by. If you're watching on YouTube, just drop a comment. And if this was any bit useful for you, it would be a huge favor to me if you shared it with someone. Say, hey, this podcast is super great. She's the best. We love her. You need this. Or you may find this useful. Or like, oh, this bitch just asked me to share this podcast and I'm feeling generous, so I did it. Send it to somebody who could benefit from it. And if you feel so inclined and you leave a review, that is one of the best ways to support. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I hope that you hit those goals that you have, because you deserve to. You deserve the life that is on your heart and on your dreams. But it is going to take work to get there. And it's going to take intentional, sustainable, clear work to get there, which is why we reverse engineer goals and don't just say things that we want with no plan to get there. So go about, my little gremlins, and go live the life of your dreams. And if you want the waitlist for the group, I want you to go to livemyhappyhealth.com/waitlist. Okay, goodbye. Have a beautiful day.